So let's just do a quick overview of sort of your backstory, and you guys can choose if JL or Dave dives into it first. But how'd you get here to Colorado Springs? What brought you here?
Well, I guess I'll start because I think that some transitions I made while we were living in New York sort of put us on the path to get to Colorado Springs. But, sort of I guess the short or medium version is this. Dave and I were both in our 40s and living in New York. We'd been in New York for several years. Dave worked in the IT sector. I'd been working in the nonprofit and higher education sector for years. And during that time, in my early to mid 40s, I had this really seismic shift in my lifestyle, which was that I went vegan. I had been vegetarian for years. I went vegan and just kind of on a whim started blogging about it and really getting into the whole scene, like trying to learn about veganism. I got involved with animal rights organizations and essentially just kind of had this moment of, I was offered. It sounds simple, but there was a process. But I was offered to co-write a book, co-author a book with Jenny Messina, and the book was called Vegan for Her, a book, a nutrition book for vegan women. And I was going to create the cookbook. And when that opportunity came up, all of a sudden I had this kind of career crisis moment of I've been fundraising for nonprofits for years and years, but what gets me really excited is creating a kale recipe for my blog or this idea of working on this book. And Dave and I just sat down one day and we just kind of talked about where we were in our careers and we tried to imagine what our life would be like in our 60s, where, I worked in the nonprofit sector, so it's not like I have a huge 401k, and we were both realistic. We're like, we'll probably be working until our 60s and 70s. What would we want to be doing? And both of us were clear that we would not want to be doing what we were doing in that moment. So we fantasized about what life could look like in our careers in our 60s or 70s. And Dave envisioned being on the deck of a pool, coaching people how to swim and coaching triathletes. And I envisioned teaching people how to cook and writing. And we just decided, to become students of our hobbies and to get certifications and to explore this idea. And it kind of catapulted the whole movement. And then I'll just jump in and then let Dave wrap up. I mean, I took a leap of faith and started a consulting business in New York. And one day Dave looked at me and he's like, I want to be doing that. And then we had the heartfelt conversation.
Yeah, I saw what JL was doing, and I think she hit it right on the head that, I didn't want to be, I don't mean to offend anybody, I didn't want to be working for some dusty old white guy in the corner office till I was 75. I wanted to be doing something I really enjoyed. So I took JL's lead and just, many spreadsheets later, we decided we needed to get out of New York and move, and then the rest, as they say, is history.
Well, and the thing is, you probably know, but I mean, New York is a very expensive place to live. And for the two of us, we were just realists. We don't have children. We're mobile. And the idea of two entrepreneurs who've never been entrepreneurs before starting up and with the cost of living in New York seemed a little terrifying. And so really, Dave doesn't take as much credit as he should for getting us to Colorado, because I pretty much said, as a writer, I can live anywhere and you're going to be triathlon coaching and swim coaching. So why don't you make some suggestions on the best place to relocate? And that's where the spreadsheets came into play. We just looked at different
Yeah.
cities and cost of
Yeah.
living. And
Yeah, and I was working with a mentor coach who lived here, and a couple conversations later, and looking at, as JL said, the cost of living and doing some comparisons to other cities, Colorado seemed like the perfect fit.
So math helped you choose Colorado Springs.
which is shocking. And my math teacher from high school would be completely stunned that I finally used it. But I'm going to give all credit to Excel spreadsheets.
Indeed, indeed.
Listeners, you have to hear the rest of this episode. Go to iTunes and search Central Colorado Springs Advice Givers to hear the full interview, or visit centralcoloradosprings.advicegivers.com. Don't stop listening now. There's so much more to this story. To catch every new episode as it's released, make sure to follow us on Facebook. Find the show's page at facebook.com/Central Colorado Springs Advice Givers.